Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Killer Fat Joe and today we are going to be focusing on the archery mechanics in Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you're anything like I was during my playthrough of KCD, you really hated using bows. Right from the first time you shoot the bow with Sir Hans, it felt absolutely and terribly wrong. But like everything else in this game, you have to practice and hone your skills. As a side note, I would like to say that using a bow isn't comfortable in KCD. Yes, you can master these mechanics, there are no bow perks, which is a huge misstep for the game. To be fair though, you can one-shot most enemies with the right bow and arrow combination. While it does sound like I'm really bashing on the archery of this game, let's talk briefly about why you should use the bow. If you are short on Groshkin, oh god, I'm not pronouncing that right at all. Hunting is a great way to pick up on some extra coins. Poaching is a valid option for the game, but you'll have to go through some certain merchants and hoops, and you'll have to be really careful when you're entering towns in order to bring in your haul. If you have the Lord's permission to hunt, it'll be a lot easier. On top of that, the further you get with your hunting, the more options you have for money. More resources can be harvested, such as the boar's tusk or deer antlers, which can then be sold or used in alchemy. Also, bow tournaments are insanely easy. Unlike the pressure of an actual battle, you can simply move your cursor to the correct position and then start firing bullseye after bullseye. Of course, this takes some trial and error, but once you get good, it'll be a piece of cake. Especially before you start making mad moolah, you can just spam archery tournaments in Talmberg. The main reason to use the bow is of course as a weapon. It is very easy to turn the tides of battle with a few well-placed shots. Taking out the enemy bowman can massively increase your chances of clearing the battlefield with ease. It's sorta hard to sell this as a big selling point, but once you run through a few battles just using melee, and then out of nowhere you get gray screen from one arrow, you're gonna start wanting to use ranged weaponry. To start us off, we're gonna be talking about this yellow reticle. The annoying little dot that you see literally all the time disappears as soon as you start drawing your bow. While there are mods to keep it there, and even a quick fix for yourself, we're gonna be focusing on the base game. Anyway, a good starting point for learning the bow is to first head to an archery range and then line yourself up with a target. Before you draw your bow, you should first place your cursor directly on the bullseye. After you do all that, you need to raise the cursor up just a tidge. All this will pretty much be doing is just factoring the arrows dropping as it travels. Raise it too high and it will go soaring over the target. Now you'll notice that you still have to get used to the swaying of the bow. The bow sways once you've fully charged up your shot, and you'll notice that the bow moves up and down as well. Having a mental image of where the dot was helps you have some accuracy when firing, but is really just giving you the building blocks of archery. Building on top of the last tip, we're going to really figure out how to aim with the bow. Now to fully understand where you're actually aiming, you need to look at where your gripping hand and the bow meet. This little crook is how you actually aim the bow without the yellow dot. Mastering this takes time and a little bit of patience, but the more you level up your bow skills, you'll notice that your stamina doesn't drain as fast, as well as you'll do more damage, so it makes it a bit easier to actually aim at the target. Once you really get used to firing this way, you'll be able to make those clutch shots during battle that just saves the day. This next tip is so freaking obvious, it's sort of annoying having to point it out, but after watching a few streams and vids of other people, it's clear that some people don't really understand. Fully charging your bow maximizes the damage but also draws your aim correctly. It really is just that simple. You can fire some shots that are almost charged in case you're getting rushed, but doing it right the first time gets you so much farther in this game. So what does leveling your bow skills really do? Without perks to give you a good advantage, is it really worth investing time into? Yes, absolutely. While you are pretty much on the same playing field as other bowmen in the game, you can take your skills far beyond what the AI can do. To level up your bow skills, you'll have to simply hit targets such as animal or people. The further the shot, the more experience, as well as moving targets give a decent amount of XP. Winning archery tournaments also gives more XP, and you can pick up a decent amount of Groshkin money. You can pick up a decent amount of money. The more you level your skills, the more damage you're going to be doing as well. Drawing your bow also takes less stamina, and you notice that your bow sway is nowhere near as drastic as it was when you first started. The big upside to using a bow is that you can level very fast compared to other sword skills, or really just other skills in general. There are also plenty of exploits as well to power farm your way to a higher bow level. That might be something you can cover in a later video, but for now there are plenty of other written guides if you'd like to check them out. Hunting is an integral part to your early level bow skills. Rabbits and deer are very easy targets that allow you to practice the tips I had mentioned beforehand, and allows you plenty of moving target practice. Hunting, however, has a bit more involved to it than just walking up and firing. On your character screen, you'll need to pay attention to visibility and noise. It mostly comes down to noise when you are tracking animals. Wearing light armor or just regular clothing is a great way to reduce your detection. You can find all of this in the player screen, and every piece of equipment gives bonuses or debuffs depending on what you have equipped. While you can get by just using whatever you want, you can make hunting a lot easier with just a few simple changes. Another key factor of hunting is to crouch. This increases your aim by reducing your sway somewhat. Crouching also reduces your total noise, but of course you're going to be moving just a bit slower. Most of the time after you fire an arrow and miss the animal, they will bolt, especially if the arrow lands close to them. However, the animals will not move if the arrow soars well past them. Now, as you can see on screen, this is mostly a bug. When it really comes to deer and rabbits, I guess their brains are just too tiny to really understand, hey, I'm getting shot at, I might die. Well, this is a plus for you, so just really take advantage of it. There's nothing wrong with leveling your bow skills like this because, hey, it's in the game. Now this is more of an advanced tip, but it involves firing while moving. This is also something that takes a lot of time and practice to really get the hang of. Whether you are on horseback or trying to maneuver while on the battlefield, firing while moving is something that is extremely difficult. You'll have to do one of two things in order to master this movement. You'll notice that you can fire while still moving at the cost of really shitty aim. You can try matching your footsteps, in which you have a small window in order to fire straight, but this is, as said before, extremely difficult to do. Honestly, the best way to go about being mobile is to move, stop, fire, move while you draw your bow, then fire again. Your stamina is going to be drawing incredibly fast as you do this, but it might keep you alive during the more intense moments of the game. As always, you want to fully charge your bow, otherwise there is no way in hell where your arrow is going to go. Our final tip of the day really focuses on the weapon itself. Bows are extremely easy to come by in KDC. You'll be able to take out a few humans and pick up a fantastic early bow, the Dogwood Hunting Bow. This weapon is so good that I spent maybe a few tries just using it and a few whacks in order to kill Run to the Cunt. Anyway, on the character screen you'll notice the range damage. There are two factors that decide the damage overall: the arrows and the bow itself. The better the bow, the more strength is going to be needed in order to draw the bowstring back. So if you're doing a ranged Henry build, strength is your go-to. High quality arrows are expensive, and it's always a good idea to loot dead enemies in the hopes you'll be able to retrieve your expended arrows. I recommend you start trying to remember how many arrows you have as well, otherwise you look like the jackass that's about to get polearmed through the chest. Well, that wraps up all of my beginner tips for archery. As always, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have other tips for new bowmen, feel free to comment below and I'll give them the whirly-dirly so that way people can pick up other tips I haven't covered. Anyway, enjoy your time as Henry, don't forget to drink plenty of booze, and always tip your alehouse wench.